Welcome back to another episode of Jay's Weekly Podcast, where today we have Fru, joined by
Drew.
Yeah, so obviously Gru isn't here today, but that is fine. We have lots to cover. Officially Kimbrel to the O's, Ohtani's deal, how it affects the Blue Jays, and the unprecedented deferrals in that deal. Young-Ho Lee, so many different
And then
players.
we might also talk about Cody Bellinger rumors.
We may also talk about Bellinger rumors. But to start it off, obviously we gotta start off with the biggest news of the week. Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
$700 million
700.
with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
10-year deal.
Is insane.
Yeah.
There is a full no-trade clause. There are no opt-outs for either side.
So what I'm a little worried about, what if the Dodgers, this probably won't happen because the Dodgers are always a great team.
Yeah.
What if they just absolutely suck for the next 10 years?
So, I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think they are going to absolutely
No,
suck
I know,
for the next 10 years.
agree.
If they absolutely suck, it'll just be the Angels all over again.
Yep.
And we all know how that went. The Angels made probably more money than any other baseball team because they had Ohtani. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Ohtani is deferring over 97% of his annual salary
Yeah.
for the next 10 years. And then after he retires, or presumably retires,
Then he will get the rest of his money.
$68 million a year. One thing to keep in mind here
So
is that he won't have to give it all away to California for the state tax when he lives there. He'll only have to give away a bit, and then presumably he'll live in Japan after his retirement.
Yeah. So he'll get paid. He'll only make $2 million each season.
Yeah.
But then after he
retires, he gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Smart. It works well for both sides. For Ohtani, it's great.
Because now the Dodgers, it was Ohtani's idea.
It was
and he
Ohtani's
did it
idea.
because then the Dodgers have more money and more freedom to go out and get players.
Then, so it's great
Not
for
that they
both
need
sides.
them. Not that they need them.
So what do you think a success is in the next 10 years when they have Ohtani on the team? Do you think it's 1 World Series, 5 World Series, 3 World Series?
At least it should be 1. But I think if I was the Angels manager or coach, I would be striving for around 4. Dodgers coach. My bad, guys. I'd be striving for 4. Probably would be my goal. They have an amazing team.
Yeah.
And Shohei's gonna help that.
Shohei Ohtani is just the best player of all time. It's not even close.
It's not close.
For anybody who says Babe
Ruth, bro,
is better,
no.
people were throwing meatballs to him. Of course he was smacking him. There's a great player and all, but as well, they
didn't even have the slider back then. They didn't even have a slider back then.
And he also only did both for 3 years, and then he became an outfielder.
I know.
So, yeah. So that's about Ohtani.
Shohei is officially the GOAT now. That's crazy.
Shohei is officially the GOAT. Although, what happens if Ohtani hits 100 the next 10 seasons?
Okay, well, then he's not the GOAT.
Is he not the GOAT?
No, then he's not the GOAT.
But
if you do that badly for 10 seasons, if you do that bad, I get it. He had an amazing
250 with 30 homers for the next.
Yeah, that's fine.
Seasons.
He's still the GOAT because he's actually doing stuff. But hitting 100, that's a little.
100's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Okay, what if Shohei Ohtani? How do you think this contract's gonna look 8 years from now? Do you think he's gonna be still pitching? You think he's going to be a starter?
I think he'll be a closer.
And how good of a hitter do you realistically think he'll be?
I think he'll be a closer. And if it's farther down the road in that contract, I think he'll be hitting around, what is he hitting right now?
He's hitting 300.
He's hitting around 300. So I think that down the road, he'll probably be hitting around 230.
So, I disagree.
Okay.
I think Shohei Ohtani is such a good hitter. I think 8 years from now, he'll have a George Springer-like season. He'll have 20 to 25 homers, and he'll have a 250, 260 average.
Okay.
I think Shohei Ohtani's just too good to hit 230.
I mean, in 10 years.
It's basically
in
hitting
10
like
years,
Matt
he'll
Chapman.
be 39.
It's basically hitting like, yeah, but he's still Shohei Ohtani.
I know, good point. But he has battled through injuries. Hasn't he had Tommy John twice? Isn't this his second Tommy John?
Nobody's calling it Tommy John. They just call it a torn UCL, which basically means Tommy John.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to talk about...
On to our second order of business. Let's talk about Craig Kimbrell. It's official. It's kind of old news, I think.
Yeah, it happened about a week ago.
It's official now. Craig
Kimbrell signed to the Orioles 1-year deal.
He 12 million 1-year deal. He'll earn. He'll be their closer next year while Felix Bautista recovers from Tommy John surgery.
How long do you think that'll take? It happened around the end.
It'll take until I think he'll be.
Will he pitch at all in 2024 or no? Not even in like the postseason. If
he won't pitch in 2024.
What if he like gets better fast and then they make like the World Series? Do you think he'd be back for something like that? It's a possibility.
Do you think Danny Jansen would have been back if the Blue Jays made the World Series?
Did he? It's hard to say.
Exactly, and that's the same thing with the Orioles.
Yeah.
With Felix Bautista.
Yep.
So yeah, official. Kimbrell is an Oriole. Don't really blame him from going there. He's gonna win 100 games. He's gonna have an ERA of like
2.1,
2.5,
something like that.
He's good. Not great. He's better than Jordan Romano.
He is better than Jordan Romano.
But in the postseason, he really blew up. So, yeah. What is it? Third order of business. Just to touch on, just after touching on Kimbrell. Young-Ho Lee,
$113 million, 6
signed
years.
with the Giants for 6 years, $113 million. I believe there's an opt-out after year 4 as well. Opt-out after year 4 per John Heyman.
It's gonna be a good contract for him.
It's gonna be a good contract. So, if he's smart with his money, and he struggles in the MLB, he won't opt out. He will just stay with that and make $113 million. And then he'll be set for the rest of his life. And if he doesn't struggle in the MLB, he can opt out after year 4.
And then make even more money.
Like $300 million. Yeah. So apparently he's a pretty good defensive outfielder as well. So he's a few things to know. He, I think last year, in his career, in the KBO, which is the Korean Baseball League, basically, he's hitting 340 with an on base of 407 and a slug of 491.
That's good
numbers. And he's never hit. He's basically hit 320 at least every season. He's never hit below 318, which sounds a lot like Bo Bichette to a higher degree.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's a good defender as well. So. Apparently his dad was really good in the KBO as well.
Oh, yeah.
In the World Baseball Classic, which is when a lot of people saw him for the first time, he did pretty well.
Yep.
The Giants now have a decent outfield. It's not great. It's not terrible.
Will that help them to...
It'll definitely help them.
No, but, will it help them enough to, make the playoffs and go further? I don't think so.
Well, to make the playoffs is one thing. To go far in the playoffs is another.
It's another. I mean, him alone.
He's projected to hit leadoff for them. I mean, if that means anything.
Yeah.
And then they'll platoon their second guy.
Yeah.
It's not looking like a very scary lineup. Just
no,
looking
it's
at this
not.
Projected lineup right now.
It's an okay lineup. It's not
It's
great.
like the Blue Jays. They lack star power.
Yes, exactly.
They have a lot of guys who can do little things, just like the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
But they lack that one big star
who can absolutely crush the baseball. Adding on to that, Cody Bellinger's girlfriend's Instagram story.
Yeah.
Did have a picture in Toronto.
Yeah.
And of dinner. 50-plus person sushi reservation? Maybe. I don't know.
So, in my opinion, this is literally John Morosi 2.0. This is like that everything that people were saying. Oh, this is Ohtani's plane. This is everything. I refuse.
But this was from Cody
refuse to believe this until I see a picture of Cody Bellinger in front of the CN Tower that is not photoshopped. And I refuse to believe it until he signs with the Blue Jays. That leads into our next thing. Where can the Blue Jays pivot after losing out on Ohtani? Bellinger's obviously the number 2.
Bellinger is the number 2. I mean, whether or not that'll happen, we might be a little bit late in this conversation because other teams have been talking to him.
Yeah.
Do we know does he have any opinions on what teams he likes?
If he did, he probably wouldn't share it. And I'm 100% he has opinions on teams he likes. Like, he's not going to go to the Oakland A's or the Kansas City Royals. Yeah. But
I think he wants to go to a good franchise.
I think he wants to go to a good franchise. But ultimately, we saw a different kind. There's one thing that I want to bring up is that we saw a different kind of free agency in the Shohei Ohtani free agency.
It took so long.
It took so long, but it was also where he wanted to go at most.
Yeah.
With a traditional free agency, it's just a bidding war to see which team taps out first, and to see which team taps out and who's gonna pay him the most money.
This was literally just like it was his choice.
It was Ohtani's choice, and the Giants have come out and said that they made a very comparable, if not identical, offer to Ohtani.
Really?
And Ben Nicholson-Smith of Sportsnet is saying that he thinks that the Blue Jays were right there with the Dodgers.
We probably were.
It was ultimately Ohtani's decision.
Yeah.
And
he probably used us to get more money from the Dodgers.
Us to get more money. I think he was going to stay in California the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it on the podcast, and I didn't want to believe it.
But
it's clear,
it was
to
inevitable.
end up happening.
And it was sad, though, because the plane, really... And then John Paul Morosi, everyone just... It was sad. It was sad how much people believed it, and then it was really sad just to see that all of it wasn't true.
Yeah, he posted basically, I'm sorry tweet saying, today I posted reporting that included inaccurate information that Shohei Ohtani was traveling to Toronto. I regret the mistake and apologize to baseball fans everywhere.
Okay, bud.
I am deeply sorry for letting you down.
Yeah,
I think there should be standards in journalism.
Yeah.
I think that the first standard is to get it right.
Yeah.
But I also legitimately believe... Well, first of all, to me, it's clear what happened. He didn't get, a ton of major sources.
Yeah, he just kind of guessed.
He didn't guess. I'm sure he got some source.
From, a rumor,
my friend who works at this buffet and then this guy who was an agent in Ohtani's agency, a friend of his came in and said that Ohtani might be on a plane to Toronto.
He might come and play in Toronto.
I think he just wanted to be first, but at the same time, everybody makes mistakes. Maybe not to this magnitude. Ken Rosenthal came out on Foul Territory podcast and basically said that everybody makes mistakes. The first he recalls him making mistakes.
Yep.
And I don't think we should harp on John Paul Morosi a ton because of this, just because of what we're about to talk about, which is some conspiracy theories about Ohtani, which are probably correct, or definitely have a chance to be correct. So we only have a few more minutes left on the podcast, but the conspiracy theory is that basically, so a member of Ohtani's agency told John Paul Morosi that Ohtani was on a flight to Toronto.
But why would someone in Ohtani's
to jack up the price? And then
I understand that, but that's so crappy.
I mean, it's doing their job. It's a terrible way to destroy Morosi's credibility, but it's still doing their job to get their client the most money. And then they told Bob Nightingale, who posted that he's not in Toronto.
Yeah, and then that just messed everything up. Now you have
I remember seeing that tweet. I was on a live stream with Blue Jays Today. Highly recommend you check them out.
Watching that, yeah.
But yeah, so it was a shame. I think John Paul Morosi, I'm not saying that he's innocent by any means, but I'm saying that maybe we shouldn't get nearly as mad at him as we originally were. So last thing, as we wrap up this show, after losing out on Ohtani, where can the Blue Jays pivot?
So, Can you expand on the question?
So, the Blue Jays had a ton of money tied up in Ohtani.
Yeah.
And obviously they missed out. What can they do now to make their team better?
Okay.
They haven't made a single move this offseason.
So I think, is Jorge Soler still available?
Still available. JD Martinez is still available.
I think
Chapman is still available.
Matt Chapman is still available. If we get to that point, he did not hit well last season. They were looking for stuff from him that he did not deliver.
No,
Obviously,
sure didn't.
he's a good fielder, as always. I don't think that will ever change. But I think a Jorge Soler who can hit the baseball, you know what I mean? And either a JD Martinez who can also hit the baseball. Jorge Soler can play in the outfield.
Kind of,
But he has.
Yep.
I think that might fill a little hole there. JD has experience. We just
experience
need...
isn't everything, though.
I know, but it helps you. Because when you get into those later games, you need guys who've been in this situation before. He's been on the Dodgers.
True.
Where they had a great team.
Yeah, Soler had 36 homers last year. He's a great player.
He is a great player.
He would lead the Blue Jays in OPS if he had if he plays with them.
Yeah.
If everybody else has a similar season. What was I gonna say? What about you? Might laugh when I say this, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's up? Let's hear it.
What about Teoscar Hernandez and Lourdes Gurriel Jr.?
Okay, I would take back Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Give me this man back. I want him.
You want him back?
I want him back on the Blue Jays in a Blue Jays jersey.
You want him?
I want him out in left.
You want him out in left? You want Varsho in center?
Yes. If that's what it comes to, I want Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
You want
back.
the Lord?
I need Lourdes. Teo,
He wants the Lord, guys.
I need the Lord. I need the Lord. It was a mistake to trade those guys away. I know we couldn't have predicted that Varsho would have that bad of a season, but, I need him back, man. I gotta say.
And then what about Teoscar Hernandez?
Some
protection for Vladdy. Vladdy hits so well with him hitting behind him, though.
I know, but there is, he's getting old.
He's only 1 year older than Gurriel.
I know, but
he strikes out a lot. I think that's a major problem with
lots of swing and misses, kind of.
And his, as you can see here, all of his stats, expected
down.
stats, they went down this past year.
Yes, they did.
Except for the fielding. The fielding did get a bit better.
So, that's something that the Jays do need. Fielding.
They don't need fielding. They don't need pitching.
They need people to hit the baseball.
They need his, 30 home runs that he's been hitting.
I know, but if we're going to get Lourdes back...
I would rather have Gurriel than Hernandez, for sure.
Same. I agree.
But, I'd take either of them, guys.
Yeah. They're both good players.
I feel confident in Teoscar's ability to play left field.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he's generally a right fielder.
Right fielder, yeah.
But I do feel comfortable with him playing some left field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well.
That might have to be it
That
for
might have
this
to be
episode.
it. If they sign... We will come back if they sign Cody Bellinger or Lourdes Gurriel Jr. or Teoscar Hernandez. We will come back if they re-sign Matt Chapman for $500 million. This is Blue Jays Today. We're out. Or no, Jays Weekly Podcast. We're out.